Before I begin, I just wanted to mention I've started using some ASMR music for background for my videos. These are the type of things I listen to when I'm either writing or researching, and I thought it would be a fun way to introduce some of my favourite YouTubers. The one I'm using for this video is by ASMR Rooms, Harry Potter Hogwarts Library. I just thought it went well with the theme of this video, researching. I love the soothing sounds of rain against the window, the crackle of real log fire, the page flicking and scribblings on parchment. As always, I will put the link to this video below in the description. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you. Does this work well, or is it too distracting? I'm still learning, so your comments will be taken on board. Anyway, to the task at hand. Researching for a book you're about to write is always exciting. You never know where it will lead, and I just love the thought of learning new things and expanding my knowledge. As you get to know me, you will learn I love quotes. Here are just a few learning new things. I continue being young, and every day I learn something new by Omara Portundo. I am always doing that which I cannot do, in order that I may learn how to do it, by Pablo Picasso. My mind is a weapon, and a mind needs books as a sword needs a whetstone, if it is to keep its edge. This is a quote by Tyrion Lannister in George R.R. Martin's book Game of Thrones. None but the ignorant can be bored by life. To the lovers of learning, life is pure adventure, shared with adventurers. Pearl S. Book. The more that you read, the more things you'll know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. Always walk through life as if you have something new to learn, and you will, by Vernon Howard. Keep reading. It's one of the most marvellous adventures that anyone can have, by Lloyd Alexander. A successful book is not made of what is in it, but what is left out of it, by Mark Twain. This is a great quote, emphasising how much really does go into writing a book. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us, by J.R.R. Tolkien. Again, another great quote, meaning that life, time is precious, and to make the most of it. Yes, I did use precious on purpose. This is why I love researching so much. I never stop learning, and to me, that is time well spent. So, let's get into the research. I'll just get into my documents here. What I usually do is I have a file for each document. So I click on the documents, and as you can see, each book has its very own document. And within the files, I have usually chapters. Book chapter 6. This is so when I open it up and I make a Word document for my research, I have a very blank page when I start off. So I start off with the title, and then I list all the chapters. Obviously they don't have names in the beginning. They sort of come along as the story progresses. I have a good plot line of how it's going to, how the story is going to start, the middle and the ending, and it's just a case of fleshing it out. And my research really does go into a lot of detail. I usually my research takes usually quite a few months. I can delve into it. To write a book is usually a year. So as you can see, I'm a very visual girl. I've put all these little bottles which are files. These are in the plot as the werewolf cure, and as they are in the moonlight, they can be duplicated. So I just wanted to have a little look at that. As you can see, I could go into much more detail as I go through the chapters, and I highlight them in pink when I've written them. The blue highlights is usually the point of view for the characters, so they all get a little turn, and I know where I'm going with my characters and that. Absolutely love maps. I'm a very, as I said earlier, visual girl, so when I'm planning the route, I like to know which seas they're going to cross. I don't know if you know much about Crystal Waters, but they go back in time using the waterways of the world, which means the seas and the rivers. So we have a little route from, it always starts in the UK, so we've gone along the North Sea and the Baltic route. This is zooming in on different rivers, and an even closer look at one. I believe that is in Asia somewhere. I think it might be top of Russia. Here we're looking at all the countries, because as they go through the waterways, they pass many countries. I like to list them all. We're going into the mythical beasts now, which I absolutely love. This is probably my favourite part, because I've put a lot of these, which is all Asian legends and myths. That was the whole theme of my book, that I can just focus on one continent at a time, and these are all Asian ones. And it's nice to, well, I feel at liberty, because the legends have been there for a very long time, and a lot of authors have done this in the past, just to recreate and to mould it into the book, so that it's more authentic within the storyline. I love it. I've got the Scorpion King here. That has been used in movies before. Obviously the legendary unicorn, you've got to have that. But I found that the Asian unicorn was very, very different from the European one, which so we're going back to ancient Thailand, which used to be called Siam, of course. So we're looking into a little bit of religion. I don't go into a lot of it, but I just like to know what the beliefs are and what the cultures are, and it's just so interesting. And we've got a early Thailand map here. Again, I've told you it was called Siam, which was really interesting. So a lot of this stuff that I get, here we're going into the modern day Thailand, so I'm looking at the maps again, but a lot of these details I copy and paste, and I put into my a little Word document folder. Of course I do like reading, but of course there's a lot of reading to do, so what I usually do is I pick out bits that I really like, which I know that will fit into my my book really well, you know, so I know what the clothes are wearing, what foods they're eating, you know, at that particular time, which we are going back to 12 AD. At the back of all my books I put the country flags, so we're looking at flags as well. Here we've seen like a little bit of dress, which is the old cultures. It's fascinating. I absolutely love it. Here I've copied and pasted the history of Thailand, and it just brings out all the history and the geography and the people within that continent. It just rounds off my story really well. I am a stickler for detail, and that's why I do go into a lot of detail within my research. I mentioned earlier about the moon phases, so I made an extra documentation for this, because the moon phases if you, a lot of people might not know this unless you know about the moon phases. They do change from year to year, and obviously, well, the dates do. They just move around a little bit, and I wanted to get the authenticity of going back. I found a great website, and it went back to 12 AD. So I've sort of highlighted when their adventure was, and which actually enhanced the story all the more, because there was a little bit of a time period that they had to. The story goes that they had the file of the werewolf cure was stolen from them, so they had to go back to ancient Thailand to rescue it, and they only had a time period to do it in. So it was a bit a case of urgency there, that they could do it in time, and that's sort of like the whole plot of the story. I just wanted to really go into my Word document with my actual book in, and I'm not going to go into the layout right now because I want to do that in later videos. But as you can see, the main the main doorway, which is always on the front, is the same apart from the title. Then we have the other books which are available. The confusing thing is that, well, I found confusing, is that everything that's on the left of a Word document is always going to be printed on the right. So I had to sort of get that in my head. So the contents page you see here, I haven't put the page numbers on yet, are on the left, but they'll appear when they're printed as going to be on the right. So I've got most of the story here. I think I finished the book in this case. And all that needs to be done is the chapter drawings, which I like to do myself. And so another thing what I really I'm going to go into a lot more details is getting these page numbers out, because on the first page I don't like them, and I usually click onto the headers, and we have Crystal Waters on one side and then the chapters on the other. So that's it really. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will keep you informed with more writing videos. So happy writing, everybody.